My name is Kelly Ford. I am 32 years old this year. The sky had completely darkened, and only the lights inside the store illuminated my office. A vintage clock hanging on the wall showed 9 p.m. Laughter and the sound of dishes from a few remaining groups of customers still leaked from the main floor of the restaurant. My third restaurant, Alma, had become popular among local gourmets within half a year of opening. On my desk, a local food magazine that arrived today lay open. It was the page of the article titled, Entrepreneur of the Year, Kelly Ford. In the photo, I was seen laughing with the chefs in the kitchen. Just a little longer, I told myself. I looked through the accounting book and checked the financial report for the month created by my brother, Dylan. While checking each number, I sighed lightly. Dylan had been handling the accounting for my company for 4 years. Hiring him was more of an obligation to family than a business decision. Despite majoring in finance in college, he somehow never managed to secure a stable job. At my parents' pleading, I gave him a chance. Since I was young, the way we were treated in the house was clearly different. The reason was because Dylan was the eldest son. My parents never doubted that he was a special child. Despite him being mediocre at best and, more often, below average in everything. Growing up with such parental expectations, he had high pride. And as I achieved success through effort and began to attract attention, he became jealous. My parents always attended his baseball games, but never showed up at my club's concerts, saying they were busy. At his high school graduation, they proudly took photos of him despite his below-average grades. On the other hand, I graduated as valedictorian, and my father's only comment was, "You should have tried harder in sports." Dylan said, "You're just lucky," refusing to acknowledge my skills. After high school, when I decided to go to culinary school to pursue cooking, my parents objected. "We can't afford your tuition on top of Dylan's," my mother said. At the same time, they were happily paying for his expensive private university tuition. But I didn't give up. I earned a scholarship to attend a prestigious culinary school and trained under renowned chefs. While attending school, I also worked part-time at restaurants. It allowed me to earn money and study cooking and management. When I opened my first restaurant, I relied only on a bank loan and my savings. There was no financial help from my parents. Now, I own 3 restaurants and am a known figure in the local culinary world. Ironically, I am now Dylan's employer. When he quit his third job, my parents said, "Dylan's talents can't be showcased in a regular company. He has special talents. Kelly, let him help at your shop." I couldn't refuse and reluctantly gave him a chance for being family. But, in reality, his abilities were significantly lacking. Though Dylan seemed to have mixed feelings about my success, I kept silent to maintain peace. As I was going through the last page of the financial report, there was a knock on the door. "Come in," I said. Jenny peeked her face in. She was the manager of Alma and my right-hand woman. "Kelly, can I go home now? The last customers have left." "Yes, of course. Thank you for today, Jenny." She nodded with a smile. "The reservations are full tomorrow. Looks like a good weekend ahead." "That's great. Have a good weekend yourself." After Jenny left, I closed the financial report and put it in my bag. I would review it in detail at home tonight. Something was nagging at me. Dylan's work had been suspicious lately. Mistakes were increasing, and so were his excuses. Stepping outside, the cold November wind caressed my cheeks. Under the restaurant's sign, I turned back and smiled contentedly. This was the fruit of my efforts. I wouldn't let anyone disturb it. That weekend, I continued to go through the financial report. Something was wrong. There were discrepancies in the numbers and several unclear transactions. They had started with small amounts but had grown larger recently. My cell phone rang, and the screen showed a call from my cousin, Megan. "Hello, Megan? It's been a while. Kelly, how are you?" Megan's voice sounded cheerful. "Yes, I was just working. Is something wrong? I thought I'd see you at Dylan's wedding last week, but I heard you couldn't make it because of sudden work." I froze. "What are you talking about?" "Last weekend's wedding. It was a small ceremony, but it was lovely. Just Dylan and Candace, and close family and friends." Last weekend. I was at a loss for words. I had been told that Dylan's wedding was next weekend. "What's wrong?" Megan asked curiously. "No, it's nothing. Thank you, Megan. Let's meet again." I hung up the phone in a daze. I had to check immediately. When I called my mother, she responded right away. "Hello, Kelly? Mom, was Dylan's wedding last weekend? I heard it was next weekend." "Oh, that? Did we tell you it was next week? It seems Dylan got the date wrong." That was a lie. I felt anger burning inside me. Out of all the relatives, you only told the wrong date to me. You don't have to say it like that. Besides, it's not a big deal. There was a forced concern in my mother's voice. She must have known. Both my brother and my parents must have known. And they intentionally excluded me. "I'll send you the photos. It was a very nice ceremony," she continued. Seconds later, photos arrived on my phone. Dylan and his new wife Candace, along with our parents and relatives. Everyone was dressed formally and smiling happily. My father raised his wine glass and my mother embraced the newlyweds. It looked like a perfect family portrait, except for the fact that I was the only one missing. "Nice," I said coldly. "Right. Dylan made such a wonderful speech. It's rare to see him so emotional." "Mom, why didn't you tell me?" I finally asked. "Kelly, I told you. Dylan got the date wrong." "That's not what I mean. Why didn't you contact me right away when I didn't show up? Why was I the only one excluded?" Silence flowed on the other end of the phone. Then, my father began to speak. "Kelly, you're always so dramatic. This is a trivial matter. We didn't intentionally exclude you." "A trivial matter?" My voice rose. "It was Dylan's wedding, Dad. You're always busy, right? Always full with work. We just didn't want to take your time." At that moment, I understood clearly. They had always excluded me. My success must have seemed like a threat to them. Dylan was working for me discontentedly and mocked me by intentionally excluding me. "Mom, Dad, that's enough," I said quietly. "What do you mean?" "That's enough. I'm sick of your lies. I've always been treated as an outsider in this family. I've tolerated it until now, but I'm done. Kelly, you're overreacting. We love you." "Love?" I scoffed. "Love means respecting the other person. You've never once respected me or my choices." My father's voice turned cold. "You always want special treatment. Dylan is our eldest son, and of course, we would celebrate his wedding. He's always been helping us. Have you forgotten about the money I send?" "What are you talking about?" "I'll let your mother talk." Now it was my mother's turn. "The money you send? That's the money Dylan manages for us. How do you think we would have paid the house mortgage without him?" I was stunned. Dylan was managing it. What does that mean? Mom, what are you talking about? The money Dylan sends us every month. Didn't he tell you? He's managing your company. You're just one of the chefs, so you don't know about the management. Suddenly, everything connected. The unclear transactions in the financial report, the numbers that didn't add up, Dylan's recent behavior. I had been sending money to my parents every month. This had continued for several years since my business started to get on track. It was around the time I began employing Dylan, and I had asked him to make the transfers. However, he had been stealing money from my company and sending it to my parents under his own name. Mom, Dad. There's nothing more to discuss. I hung up the phone. At that moment, something inside me changed. This wasn't just a family hurt, it was a betrayal. Dylan had betrayed my trust, and my parents had believed his lies. I opened the financial report again. This time, I looked at it from a different perspective. Payments to customers, fictitious expenses, withdrawals under the guise of management fees. Dylan had been systematically stealing money from the company. Moreover, the amount suggested that he was pocketing more than just what was sent as remittances to our parents. I took a deep breath and called my lawyer. It's an emergency, I said. Can we meet tomorrow? The next morning, I arrived at the office early. I wanted to gather evidence before Dylan arrived. I logged into the accounting system and downloaded all transaction history for the past year. I could hear Jenny preparing in the main floor. By 9 a.m., the staff had begun to arrive one after another. At 9:30 a.m., Dylan showed up. As usual, he was late. He entered the office with a confident smile, holding a coffee in his hand. Good morning, Kel. He used my childhood nickname. It had always had a somewhat mocking tone. Good morning, Dylan. I responded calmly. Congratulations on your wedding. It sounds like it was a lovely ceremony. He paused for a moment, then quickly covered it up. Ah, thanks. You heard from Mom, huh? Why didn't you tell me? He shrugged. I thought I did. Looks like I got the date mixed up. It's not a big deal, right? Not a big deal. I looked at him incredulously. It was your wedding. See, this is why I didn't tell you. He took a sip of his coffee. You always get so dramatic. I said in a suppressed voice. Dramatic? Dylan, I'm your sister. I thought I was part of the family. Of course, you are. He said mockingly. But honestly, Candace didn't want a big wedding. She wanted to celebrate just with people who are close to us. Close to you. I mulled over his words. So, I'm not close to you? It's not like that. He was searching for excuses. You're always busy with the restaurant, aren't you? I pulled out documents from the desk drawer. I've been busy, but I've been watching the finances of the company. Especially since I've been thinking something's been off recently. Dylan's expression changed. What are you talking about? Ever since you came here 2 years ago, $500 has been withdrawn from the company every month under management fees. That's just an expense. He said nonchalantly. I thought so too at first. But in the past few months, an additional $1,000 has been withdrawn every month. The amount is too large, so I was checking it. Then, the non-existent consultant fees. $2,000 every month. And fictitious receipts. Dylan opened his mouth, then closed it again. Mom said you were sending money every month. I continued. Dylan, you must have been sending the money I was supposed to send to our parents as your own. If that's the case, you've stolen money from this company. Stealing? That's ridiculous. His voice rose. I work for this company. This is part of my compensation. Compensation? I said, trying to contain my anger. Your salary is already above market rate. And lately, you're hardly working at all. That money is for the family. He defended. I thought Mom and Dad needed more than what you were sending. Why didn't you just tell me directly? Why did you lie? You don't understand anything. Dylan stood up. Always perfect, Kelly. Always successful, always right. What have you ever done for the family? I hired you. Even though you had no qualifications or experience. You mean, out of pity? He scoffed. I'm not so down and out that I need your pity. But you wanted my money. Even if it meant stealing it. At that moment, his face turned red. I didn't steal anything. You're fired. I said quietly. Pack your things and leave now. What? You can't fire me. We're family. No, I can. And I will. I stood up and handed him a document. This is a legal notice. If you do not return the misappropriated funds, I will take legal action. Dylan stared at the document in shock. Are you serious about suing me? You've betrayed me, Dylan. You stole from the company, lied to our parents, and excluded me from one of the most important events of my life. That's not true. Leave before I call security. I said calmly. Dylan clutched the documents with trembling hands. As he turned at the door, he sneered. Perfect, Kelly. Forever alone, Kelly. Ever wonder why? Because no one wants to be around someone as cold as you. As the door closed behind him, I collapsed into the chair. My hands were shaking. This was not just a dismissal. I had cut ties with my family. Yet strangely, I felt a sense of liberation. No more lies or betrayals to deal with. No more being trapped in an endless loop of expectations and disappointments. I took out my cell phone and messaged my lawyer. Proceed. That evening, the restaurant was fully booked. I stayed in the kitchen longer than usual, cooking alongside the chefs. By engaging my hands and pouring my creative energy into the work, I tried to calm the turmoil inside me. After closing, I drank wine with the remaining staff and listened to their stories. I didn't tell them the truth. I only said that Dylan had left for personal reasons. When I got home, there was an unfamiliar car parked in front of my house. And there was a figure sitting on the bench in front of my house. It was Dylan. What are you doing here? I asked as I got out of the car. He stood up. His face was twisted with anger, his eyes were burning with rage. Finally back, huh? He crossed his arms and spoke with a domineering attitude. There's nothing left to talk about. I took out my keys and headed for the door. Kelly. He shouted in a commanding tone. Look at me. It's your duty to listen to me. I stopped and turned around. What should I listen to? More lies? More excuses? It was a mistake. He raised his voice. It was for a debt. It became a problem because you overreacted. A debt? I laughed. You stole from the company, Dylan. Shut up. He pointed a finger at me. What do you know? I needed the money for my marriage to Candace. It's only natural for family. Then why didn't you tell me? I'm your sister. You could have honestly asked for help. You think I would beg from you? He snorted. That's just like you. Always flaunting your success, looking down on me. Our parents expected it from me. It was me. I was the one to save the family. So you stole my money and sent it to our parents as your own? It was my right. He pounded his chest. You gave me a job. How gracious. Half of your success is thanks to me. Then why did you exclude me from your wedding? Ah, that again. He waved dismissively. The wedding was just a ceremony. If you had been there, everything would have been ruined. You always get all the attention when relatives gather. Always. His words stung sharply. But it was the truth. At family gatherings, I was rightfully recognized for my achievements. Everyone noticed the success I had earned through my own efforts. I knew that my parents and he resented that. Does Candace know what you've done? What did you tell Candace? His face was momentarily stricken with panic. Nothing. I answered quietly. Not yet. She'll believe me no matter what you say. He stepped closer, threateningly. I've told her I'm your business partner in the company. That's a fact. What? Your restaurant is partly mine. He stated proudly. What's wrong with saying that? Unbelievable. I sighed. You've built everything on lies. Kelly. He commanded. Take me back. I need the job. Right now. It's your duty as my sister. Why? Why, really? He scoffed. If Candace finds out the truth, she'll leave me. She was attracted to my status. Afraid the truth will come out. I said coldly. That's unfortunate. But I will never give you anything again. What? His face flushed, and he clenched his fists. Is this what a sister does? The conversation is over. I opened the door. Return all company property by tomorrow. Security will be present when you come to the office. You're going to regret this. He threatened. Just go. I said. This is a goodbye. Dylan glared at me for a few seconds before kicking the ground violently. To be treated like this. He started walking briskly towards his car. He opened the door roughly, turned back, and yelled. We're family. You betrayed that. We were. I replied and quietly closed the door. The car engine roared aggressively, and the tires screeched as he drove away. The next morning, I sent a concise message to my parents. I explained that Dylan had stolen money from the company and sent it to them under his own name. That he had intentionally excluded me from his wedding. And that I could no longer continue my relationship with the family. There was no reply from my parents. That night after sending the message, I couldn't sleep. What is a family? Is it just about blood ties, or is it a relationship built on trust and respect? Then, the next day, my mother called. Kelly, I'm calling about Dylan. Her voice was weary. What's happened? I asked calmly. He's in a terrible state. Candace has left him after finding out the truth. He's out of money and out of a job. That's unfortunate. I said. But that's the result of his own choices. How can you be so cold to him? My mother's tone was accusatory. He's your brother. Mom, he stole from me. He put my company and reputation at risk. And for years, he intentionally excluded me. Everyone makes mistakes, Kelly. Mistakes? I chuckled bitterly. This wasn't just a mistake. It was deliberate betrayal. He needs help, my mother pleaded. Can't you give him a job? No. My voice was firm. Kelly Ford. My mother raised her voice. How do you think I raised you? Families are supposed to help each other. I won't help him anymore, Mom. That's my final decision. There was silence on the line for a few seconds. Then her voice turned cold. I understand. If that's how you feel, you're no longer part of this family. Those words hurt, but they were not unexpected. If that's your choice, I said quietly. Goodbye, Mom. Hanging up, the pain was less than I had anticipated. Instead, I felt a strange peace. It was as if I had been freed from the burdens of family expectations and disappointments that had plagued me for years. That conversation was the last. I blocked my parents' numbers after that. Weeks passed. My life became quieter. I received no more communications from my parents. While I occasionally thought of them, the pain that used to accompany those thoughts was gone. Work has been going well. Thanks to the new financial manager, the company's finances were organized and more transparent. I was finally able to move forward with plans to open a fourth restaurant. One day, while I was working in my office, Jenny knocked on the door. Kelly, do you have a moment? She seemed a bit nervous. Of course, what's up? She hesitated before speaking. Someone's outside. He wants to see you. Who? Your brother. I froze. Dylan? Jenny nodded. I wasn't sure whether to let him in. I took a deep breath. Do you know what he wants? No, he just said he needs to talk to you. I considered the situation. Should I see Dylan? What if he was here to ask for something again? Yet, turning him away without seeing him might not resolve anything for me either. All right. I decided. Let him in. When Dylan entered, he looked different. Gone was his usual confident demeanor, replaced by a man who appeared exhausted. Kelly, he said weakly. Dylan. I responded calmly. What do you want? He stood even though I gestured towards a chair. There's something I need to talk about. I need help. I observed him. Dylan only ever appeared before me when he needed something. More money? Or some other favor? In a quiet voice, Dylan said. Candace left me. That's unfortunate. I said. He looked out the window. Mom and Dad have abandoned me too. Can you believe it? After everything I've done. They haven't contacted me. I stated. They're ashamed of their actions until now. Dylan explained. Especially Dad. He read an article about you recently. Said he was proud. I said nothing. Well, forget about the money. I just need someone to listen. He rushed to add. I have a new plan. This time it's going to be a big profit. So let's just let bygones be bygones and help me out. Dylan. I interrupted him. Why did you come here? He took a deep breath. Obviously, I want to come back to work. None of this would have happened if you hadn't overreacted. I looked at him steadily. There was not a trace of regret in his eyes. That's not possible. I said. First, you need to get treatment. For your anger issues and narcissism. Problems you've had since you were a child. What? His face stiffened momentarily. That's nonsense. Anger issues? Don't make me laugh. Is that so? I said. It's none of your business. He suddenly raised his voice. You always look down on me. You think I have problems? I am perfect. It was the usual pattern. Whenever his pride was wounded, he lost his composure. At that response, I was at a loss for words. "You have an obligation to rehire me," he said commandingly. "We're family, aren't we? Or are you going to ignore our blood ties too? No matter what you say, my decision won't change," I said quietly. "Dylan, you need treatment. It will be good for you." "Shut up," he yelled. "You don't understand me. I'm not at fault. It's all your fault." Driven by his anger, he kicked the door open and left. I watched from the window as he crossed the parking lot. Filled with fury, he violently opened his car door and sped away, screeching his tires. Jenny came back. "Are you okay?" I nodded. "Yes, I'm fine." What did he want? A way to avoid admitting his faults, I said. Months later, Dylan's trial began. The judge ordered him to undergo anger management therapy. He would likely be forced to receive the treatment. It might be the best medicine for him. I also decisively stopped sending money to our parents. Their life seems to be getting harder, but strangely, they haven't contacted me. Perhaps, as Dylan had said, they are starting to acknowledge me now. Life is complicated. So is family. I restarted my car and headed home. Tomorrow is a new day. And I will continue walking my own path. Proud, strong, and above all, for myself.